Red Magic 8 Pro Plus is a phone with a different design, high performance, and probably the wet dream of any mobile gamer. You've seen the design in the meantime. It has capacitive triggers, headphone jack and ventilation slots for the cooler, so the phone is not water resistant. The phone is physical dual SIM, so 2 cards fit in the stock. And this red button is the one that activates the gaming mode, which I will come back to later. This is how the phone looks from the front with the screen on. The camera is located under the display, up in the middle. The screen is AMOLED, bright enough, with a maximum refresh rate of 120 Hz. It is not the best in the industry, but it clearly stands out with the fact that it has a camera under the display, which leads to an excellent experience of watching media content on this phone. The battery is 5000 mAh. I took it out of charge on Friday, and you can see the usage from that day now. On Saturday I continued using it, also an intense one as you can see, with a lot of gaming. In total, I have about 4.5 hours with the screen on, with very intense use, about 48 hours without charging, and I still have 15% battery left. From my point of view, we have a very good autonomy. Before we move on to the performance, I would still like to talk about the cameras. Clearly, you are not going to buy this phone for how good pictures it takes. The results of the main cameras are specific for a phone of approximately $400, both on the photo and video side. It stands out on the video with the filming in 8K at 30 FPS. And also on the video side, I can say that I'm disappointed that I can't film with the ultra-wide camera. It only works with the main one and the selfie one. You have also seen the selfie camera. It is weak. The results are specific to a very cheap phone, about $100. The performance of the phone should be excellent, because we have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 processor. However, its performance varies a lot even in synthetic tests. The tests were not done one after the other, almost every test was done after the phone had been in use for a while. However, the result of the 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme Stress Test confirms the fact that we have a real gaming phone. It is an excellent score and excellent stability. However, you should know that the phone frames were very hot. You could barely keep your fingers on them, given that the processor only reached 46 degrees. So I conclude that we have excellent cooling. Moving on to the games, at this moment you see the maximum settings of PUBG Mobile. I played on smooth with 90 FPS. You can map those capacitive triggers to do what you want, as you can see. For example, I made the one on the right shoot the gun, and the one on the left put the scope on me. The idea is that I find these capacitive triggers a little uncomfortable. At a light touch of them, they are already activated. I would have preferred there to have been some physical buttons, as there are on the Poco F4 GT for example. At the same time, I think the headphone jack is placed in a very bad position. It is almost impossible to play with headphones and use the triggers. Moving on to another game, in Call of Duty, these are the maximum settings. It's interesting though that it doesn't let me on max graphics, only on very high. However, overall the gaming experience is excellent on this phone. The problem with this phone is the software. The idea is that it had a beta software installed, or something like that, I think, because initially his selfie camera didn't work at all. The problem was that it had no updates. However, the latest update from their website was manually installed and everything is fine now. But that update was one from March 2023, practically the last update was received then. Which is not very good, I say. Moreover, the phone I have does not have NFC, so you cannot pay with a card. However, considering the screen uninterrupted by any selfie camera, decent stereo speakers, very good performance in the presence of capacitive triggers, as a phone strictly for gaming and entertainment it is very good. If you can find it for around $700 to $800 new in stores, I think it's worth buying. But otherwise, you'd better buy a ROG Phone 7, for example.